Hello, everyone. It's great to be with all of us today. My project is about towards realizing sustainable development in Africa. Let me start by introducing myself. My name is Joyce Wanderi. I'm the Chief Program Officer for Girl Effect. I'm a mother of two boys, and I've been in public health for many years, close to 2 decades. So I am a leader in public health. And I've been very passionate about matters to do with women and girls, especially around empowerment. And most of my career, I've actually been focusing on that. I also recognize the need, of course, to engage men and boys in our quest for this so that we can be able to realize the desired impact. My purpose is to make a difference in people's lives, however small, because I believe it starts with me. From what I've learned from East Africa Women Lift Health, one of the things I really want to do is to be able to inspire and lead change. And that's really has inspired what my project is all about. So let me start by just giving you an overview of what my project is about. So for how long will Africa be receiving aid without really making sustainable impact? We are very aware that for decades, we've seen many development programs come and go with varied results. Some have succeeded, while others have not been able to really sustain the impact that they were designed to be able to realize. We also know that African governments are not very interested in investing sufficiently, especially in the health sector. They are more interested in, of course, in investing in hardware and less of the software. And if they're left this to be led by and funded by international government and institutions. I want you to imagine an African continent where development is led by the locals and sustained through either domestic financing or domestic resources, and where we actually are able to involve the local people in design and also be able to really sustain the impact that we are designing for. Is it achievable? Yes, but it's possible and it has to start somewhere. So my project is about making a paradigm shift in how we approach development in Africa. And I've chosen to start with changing mindsets among upcoming women leaders in institutions. So let me talk a little bit about the problem statement just in addition. So first of all, of course, just in addition to what I've said, we know that public health priorities are largely funded by the donors and the external funders. We also know that they have a finite end, most of them 3 to 5 years, and they come to an abrupt end with no resources to keep the momentum. We also know that a lot of development in Africa is led by NGOs, and they tend to be responsive to the needs of the funders, which basically results to very vertical programming or looking at problems that are not, or looking at addressing problems that require holistic solutions, but we are basically designing for a vertical program. A mentor shift is required for us to be able to influence how this development is done by African leaders as well as the African people. We have to start by also shifting how African leaders think about how we address our own problems. There are many upcoming women leaders in the health sector who have the potential to start shifting our development approach by getting the design approach to be really thought out differently, how we involve our own beneficiaries. And I think the only way to do that is to start a systematic mentorship of a few women leaders. And I believe that if we do that, we'll create a ripple effect and eventually a movement. So what are some of the possible solutions that I'm looking into? First of all, my expected outcome when this project is successful is that we have women leaders empowered to influence the development agenda in their institutions and their communities. So I want to identify like-minded people in the sector who appreciate the problems and are keen to do something about it. I want us to be able to create a narrative and a pitch and be able to sell that story through many forums, to be able to pass that message all the time, everywhere we have a chance, including webinars or blog, so that webinars, blogs, conferences, so that people can actually understand what is this mind shift that we are talking about in terms of looking at development differently. I want to start influencing from within, get like-minded upcoming women leaders and men alike to start asking the hard questions when they have this audience with funders and governments, when they're designing programs in their own organizations. They need to start asking the hard question. What do we have in mind? Is it going to be sustainable? How will we sustain it? Are we actually really addressing the root causes of the problem? And are we involving our own beneficiaries who really should be at the center of the design of the program? It is possible to influence this change slowly by slowly. And we have already seen that some people, some funders, even government leaders already appreciate the challenge. So let's start thinking about how to really change the mindsets of various segments of the people slowly by slowly. So how far have I gone with this? I've been able to articulate the vision of success. I've been having conversations with women leaders. East African, of course, women cohort is also one of them that have really been talking to women leaders as well to hear their perspective. I've been talking to different partners to hear perspectives as well and help me shape the thinking. I've done some literature review, which I continue to do because there are various voices around this and on how this should be done in various countries as well. And I've also been lining up structured interviews with a sample of women leaders and development partners to start hearing their perspectives. So for me, really, what I really want us to think about today, it is time for change, and time for change is now. I want us to all come together and start looking at development differently to inspire change. We want development that is inspired and led by local people and by the beneficiaries. We want development that is led by Africans for the African people. So let's start doing this. It starts with you and me, and I think collectively we can actually make a difference. Thank you.